It's intermission time. It's great to get out to the movies.
I'm Megan Braun, and I host this podcast, Intermission, produced by The Synagogue. And today we have Natasha Kremani. Natasha, can you tell the listener who you are, what you do, and the film we'll be talking about today?
So yeah, I'm Natasha. Thank you for having me. I am a filmmaker, so writer, director. I have a production company called Illium Pictures. And we're going to be talking about my new film, The Dreadful, which comes out February 20th. And it's a long journey, so there's plenty to talk about for sure.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
And you wrote and directed it, right?
I did.
Very cool. I have a little bit of background on here as well. I saw that you contributed to VHS in 2023. We have a previous guest. I don't know if you know them, but Micheline and R.H. Norman.
Yeah, of
Do you
course
know them?
I know Micheline. Yeah, I wore one of her dresses recently while I was pregnant.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, she's so sweet.
Yeah, she has come on the show twice now. Actually, both of them twice now.
Nice.
And they contributed a VHS just this last year for the Halloween edition.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
But we'll get into your film more later, but I just wanted to touch on the release date. It's February 20th.
February 20th, yep. And
Cool.
And so it'll be in theaters. That's the way we hope that you can see it. We put a lot of love and sort of attention into making the theatrical experience really awesome. So hopefully you can catch it in a theater. It's you can check Fandango. It'll have all the info there.
Sweet. Okay, so we have a question that we ask every guest that comes on the show. No right or wrong answer, just see where it takes you. But if you were to pick a film that describes where you're at in life right now, what comes to mind?
Oh my God. Well, this is kind of an evergreen one since it came out, but I really, really love the film Phantom Thread by Paul Thomas Anderson. I just think I watch it a lot when I have just completed a project because I think it just really captures the creative process and sort of how much we build ourselves up and then we have to kind of break ourselves down. And it's just so funny and it makes me laugh and it's very tender and sweet. And so that's a movie that I come back to quite a bit just as a personal sort of comfort food.
Yeah. Phantom Thread is a film that I've actually only watched once in theaters when it came out, but I love it and I tell everyone I love it and I'm like, I should just rewatch it.
It's so worth a rewatch, honestly, because when you rewatch it, you know what she's up to. You know, you kind of see like what the relationship sort of being put together and that's a very rewatchable film. It's a great New Year's Eve movie.
That's a great idea. Oh, I like that. I have been wanting to, because with the holidays recently, we're always like posting movie lists and recommendations. And we were thinking of like films that are not necessarily about the holidays, but feel like they could be watched in certain holidays. Yeah. So that's a good one.
So Eyes Wide Shut for Christmas.
For sure.
Phantom Thread for New Year's Eve.
Love.
And then Lord of the Rings, you can watch like in the time between.
Yeah.
Christmas and New Year's Eve.
I actually just got pulled into going to see the Lord of the Rings extended version at AMC the other week.
Nice.
It was really fun, but it was random because the people I were going with had already watched the first two, and I somehow I've seen them all, but like they were doing.
You were just going to 3.
Yeah, and it was just kind of just a random day.
That's great, though. Actually,
yeah, it was fun. It was really fun.
That's fun. I am a defender of the third movie. I actually like the third one quite a bit.
Yeah,
and I always cry at the end, of course.
Okay, so to get into your general movie taste, what usually hooks you when you first watch a movie? Like, are you someone who is hooked by the characters or the tone, the visuals, the music? Like, what is your go-to?
Yeah, it's so tough. I'm married to a cinematographer, so I feel like, we come in with like all this technical, this, that, or the other thing, oh, we're so excited for the cinematography. Oh, I'm such a fan of this production designer, whatever it is. But usually for me, it's really just like within the first few minutes, if I've fallen in love with the main character, and if I'm like really feel engaged with what their journey is, that's really what is either going to pull me in or keep me out of it, and I usually know within the first few minutes. So if it's not really gelling for me, you always try and find the positive in a movie experience, right? So it's kind of like, okay, well, the story's boring or I don't really like this character, but like look at these awesome costumes or whatever. I always try to find like something to engage with. But yeah, no, for me, it's always just, is this character exciting to me? Do I relate to them? Are they doing something crazy? Like that's really what I either get hooked into or not.
Wait, this might be a silly question, but did your husband work on this film?
No, we actually don't work together on movies.
Do you have any desire to?
No, we actually pretty early on in our relationship sort of decided, we call it separation of church and state.
Yeah.
To keep
Smart.
kind of like personal life and professional life different. And he's massively talented DP. He's incredible. And I, obviously we're married, so we work on each other's stuff, right?
Mhm.
Like that's just part of life. But I work with a really incredible DP named Julia Swain. And so she's kind of my work
Cool.
wife.
I
My
love
DP,
that.
yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Curious about films that shaped your taste early on in your life. What were the films you were watching when you were younger, and how and when did you get into film?
Yeah. Well, I was a huge kind of sci-fi nerd, honestly, as a kid, like fantasy, sci-fi books as well. Like I just sort of ate all that up.
I've said this with a past guest that I feel like it always goes hand in hand. Like the people that
Yes.
like fantasy love the fantasy books.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I think that's the kind of the gateway is like the books, fantasy books where I grew up reading the Chronicles of Narnia and all that. My kid is literally named Caspian,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I just realized that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I really, I just love the world building. So sci-fi then came out of that. And so I really loved just like the imagination, like just unbridled, like new worlds that you've never seen before was so exciting to me. So stuff like, seeing Blade Runner for the first time and, diving into these worlds that were just like pure imagination and pure creativity.
Yeah.
Was always very, very exciting for me. And then, of course, I went through the phase that all filmmakers go through of like discovering all the greats, right? So you kind of like, I think when you're a movie nerd, you kind of like set assignments for yourself almost where you're like, okay, well, now I'm going to watch all of Tarantino. Now I'm going to watch all Jim Jarmusch. Now I'm going to watch all of blah, blah, blah. But the last part of that is I actually grew up in my mom is a multimedia artist. So
Sick.
I grew up in a house that really had a lot of experimental art around and performance art. And a lot of that turned into art film. So I was exposed to quite a lot.
What a dream.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy way to grow up, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, can I hear like an example of something your mom has done?
Yeah. Well, she ran a program at RPI for a long time that hosted various artists. Like Laurie Anderson is probably the most well known. She was Lou Reed's partner, but she's a performance artist.
Wow.
So people like that. Shirin Nishat is a very famous Persian performance artist, and so it was a lot of sort of again multimedia. So you're in a theater space, but it has video elements, it has music, it has, each performance is completely different and unique. So yeah, I'm like 7, 8, 9 years old, sort of running around in a black box theater with this like really crazy stuff. And again, I think it is kind of, it does tie into that idea of world building, and it is like a really crazy world, right? Because it's performance art, so it's like really out there stuff. But it's still that idea of like, cool, let's show me something that I would not see every day walking down the street, right? Like give me something new, show me something new. And so I think all those things kind of gel with each other in that way.
Wait, I'm spacing on the Cronenberg movie that came out, like the most recent one with Kristen Stewart. What is that called again? Yeah,
Crimes of the Future. Yeah, he actually made one more since that. I think. He's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, but yes, Crimes of the Future. Exactly. That was basically where I grew up.
Yeah.
Like what I grew up.
Did your mom watch that movie?
I don't know if she did. I should see. She likes Cronenberg. I think she likes Cronenberg. She likes David Lynch. She likes like the guys who for us are kind of like on the out, like, whoa, those guys are far out. For her and her cohort, they're like
nothing.
Sellouts, you know, like that's commercial stuff, you know.
That's funny.
So yeah, no, these are like the real artists with a capital A. So I think I grew up with that kind of like complete artistic freedom, and then the films were fun, right? Like that was the fun sort of big budget version of world building. Yeah, all of that collage of stuff was kind of what I grew up with.
And then now, what do you feel like you're watching a lot of?
Well, I'm not watching anything right now.
Yeah.
I can only watch movies in like 30-minute stints right now because of the baby.
Or pre-baby?
It's a hard question. I know. I'm like trying to remember what I was doing before she arrived. What was I watching? Well, I was in post, so I was pretty busy with stuff.
Yeah, I've thought about that.
I've been revisiting stuff.
Okay.
I think that's the answer to your question is my husband and I have felt like a real drive to watch movies high quality. So we've been sort of seeking out like great restorations. So like we talked about Eyes Wide Shut. So we found we got the Criterion restoration and watched that. And so it's really been this drive to not just like, oh, let's turn on Heat for the millionth time. It's like, oh, this movie is having a really interesting restoration or a re-edit or, like revisiting great films has been brought us a lot of joy, I think, in the last year or so.
Nice. That's like the best part of living in a big city too, is all these cool theaters have like screenings.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Oh, I'm so grateful. I mean, we live down the street from the Vista, which is
I love
a treat.
The Vista.
A real treat. And then we're very close to Vidyets. Shout out to Vidyets.
Yes.
I love Vidyets, women owned. I'm just glad that the like movie palaces survived, the pandemic and the strike and all the craziness.
Did you see the Kristen Stewart buying the theater in Highland Park?
Yes, in Highland Park. She's so cool.
She's so cool.
Ugh, I love it. She's using her power for the force of good.
Yeah. It's going to be so fun to go.
Yeah. No, she's freaking awesome. I love it. More of that.
Thoughts on movies with bleak endings? Does that feel like cathartic to you or like a bit exhausting because you don't have the closure? Does it feel necessary sometimes? What is like the reaction?
Well, that is exactly the question. I mean, is it nihilistic just to be nihilistic, to be mean-spirited, or is there a reason and a message behind it? If there is, then great. That's sometimes life has sad endings. Not every ending is happy. But if it's just to be mean-spirited, that is a huge turnoff for me. I really do not like that. There was a real like sort of fad of doing that for a while, especially in independent like horror cinema. It was just like being mean-spirited and nasty just for the sake of it. And I really don't like that. It really turns me off. And I can't imagine working on something like that. It's like living in that world, and a movie takes so long. It's so difficult to do. And it's like all for the sake of like a fuck you at the end of the movie. Like it just, to me, I don't. Yeah. It's not my thing.
Has your relationship to movies changed since you started making them and being on the back end?
I mean, for sure. Like but that was also such a long time ago that now I'm like, whatever. It's just I think I've actually come full circle. I think when I first started really understanding how the sausage was made, yes, you do look at things more clinically and see it like just for its technical. But I think I've come back around and I've loosened up so much as a person. I think especially when you're really starting out as an artist, as a filmmaker, as a creator, you're kind of like elbows up, and everything has to be prestige and great and whatever. And that even extends to your taste. And so you're trying to like prove something with your taste. But I think I've really come back around, and now I'm just like looking to have a good time.
Yeah.
So like if a movie shows me a good time for 2 hours, I'm like, great. I don't care if it's a popcorn silly movie or if it's like, the most serious film you've ever seen. Like if it makes me feel good, then I'm into it.
What's a film that you admire deeply, but you would never make yourself?
I mean, like every Kubrick movie ever.
Yeah.
I am such a fan of his work, and I come back to it constantly. But I do really think that there is an interesting conversation around how he made films. And so there is always this tension of like, well, should I be more of an asshole? Like, would I get better results? Is this just a way to go through life? Just, insisting your way through a production. And I don't know. I don't know the answer to it. But again, like I just don't want to be miserable. So it's just not something that I'm willing to do, or it's not my DNA.
Yeah.
But with that said, incredible results. I mean, it's a level of production that I don't know is even possible anymore with how movies are made now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say his entire collection of work.
Was there a movie that made you realize that cinema could be dangerous, not just entertaining?
I have a really weird answer to this question.
Cool.
There is, of course, the potential of film to reach people and have an incredible positive impact. But when you say dangerous, I actually think about, maybe it was the first Transformers movie, but I think it was the first Transformers movie or maybe the second one. I don't know. One of these silly movies. And I remember thinking about how they were filming, I think it's Rosie Huntington Wheatley, whatever her name is. And it was so blatantly an exploitation of her body. And I remember even then being really disgusted by it, and it was how blatant it was, you know. And there was something about just that being so on the surface of like, we're shooting this like a commercial. It is a film, but we're shooting it this way, and it's, you know, it's just pure exploitation. And it was this like super popular movie with a ton of kids in the theater. And I remember that freaking me out a little bit, right? Like the normalization of it, that really felt unsafe.
Yeah, no, it's specifically a scene that comes to mind is her working on the car.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I think all of the movies have that scene in it, and the girls switch out, you know?
Yeah.
I like don't even know, is it Megan Fox? Is it Rosie?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that felt really unsafe to me.
Yeah.
And it felt like, oh, okay, then this theater doesn't really feel like a safe space for me. And this place that I go for like comfort and exploration and excitement feels like, well, now I'm just being sold something that grosses me out, you know, that doesn't feel appealing. So I think, you know, hopefully we've moved past it, but it still comes back, you know, and how we photograph women, how we look at women, how we talk about women is for some reason still constantly up. You know, it's constantly being rehashed over and over and over again. And to be photographed as an object and not as a human is unfortunately something that still pops up over and over and over again. And so every time it's done, it feels like, okay, well then that agenda is just continuing. So that feels dangerous to me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great answer, honestly. I was curious where you're going to go with that question because I feel like you could take it any which direction. Last one for this section, which I think will be kind of relevant because you were saying that you hone in on characters in films. Like that's what you gravitate towards. And obviously to make a good character, it takes great acting. So is there a performance you return to as a benchmark for great acting?
Gosh, there's so many. There's a really interesting film from the 90s by a female filmmaker named Sally Potter. The name of the film is Orlando, starring Tilda Swinton.
I love her.
Yes. Check this film out. You will love it. I won't spoil what happens, but about halfway through the film makes a turn that if people are familiar with the original Virginia Woolf book, they might see it coming. But the performance that Tilda Swinton delivers over the course of that film of this character that experiences extreme change is something that I come back to quite a bit. And I think it's a really beautiful, it's kind of the opposite of Transformers.
Yeah.
It's like this really tender exploration of gender and humanity and identity over the course of like 100 years. You know, it's this really sort of epic, sweeping movie. And Tilda just really delivers. I mean, obviously she's one of the greatest actors of our time, but
Agree.
I think about that performance a lot.
Sweet. I already know, like, sometimes we'll record an episode and I'm like, I want that to be like a clip we post. I totally want that to be a clip because I want more people to watch this movie.
Oh, it's an incredible film.
Yeah.
It's again, it's like, why is this film not more celebrated?
Yeah.
This is such a special movie with a huge movie star in it.
Yeah.
I think we know why. Billy Zane's in it too.
Okay, now we're going to get into the dreadful. I have a short synopsis of your film here. Set during the Wars of the Roses, Anne and her mother-in-law, Morwen, live a solitary, harsh life on the outskirts of society. But when a man from their past returns, he will set off a sequence of events that become a turning point for Anne. And it stars Sophie Turner and Kit Harington, which everyone would know them from Game of Thrones. Just to get started, like, how did that pairing come about? And
Yeah.
Sophie also produced the film?
Yeah, she's a producer on the
Cool.
film. Yeah. Yeah, this was a really long journey. So I made my first feature and was taking it around festivals in 2018 and thought that this was going to be my next movie.
Oh, really?
It was not. You know, life takes you on, you know, kind of crazy, circuitous paths. But so this movie had actually been shelved for quite a while, and I had gotten so many no's, and you know, no one wants to do period, no one wants this. And I had been trying to do it, and I kind of set it aside. I was kind of like, okay, noted.
Yeah.
I'll come back to this. And I had been, so I had a studio project that fell apart and I was really down in the dumps. And I was actually talking to one of my agents at UTA, and this is actually like a happy story about agents for once. And this agent Houston really remembered that script. It had always kind of stuck with him. And so he said, hey, what's happening with that project? Take it off the shelf, dust it off. Let's see. And what do you think of Sophie Turner? It would be kind of cool to see her back in a period movie. And I thought that was such a good idea. And he sent it to her UK agent, and we caught her at the right time. These actors are so busy. It's really just a timing,
Yeah.
And so she was able to read it, and she liked the project. Sophie came on board, and then the SAG strike happened. So we went dark again. Came back when the strike ended.
You have to have so much resilience in this industry.
Yeah. I mean, I was joking with a friend. I was like, heartbreak is just the
baseline.
The baseline.
Yeah.
Everything from there is like a little blip of life. But yeah, no. So she sent it to Kit.
Cool.
And
from siblings to lovers.
I know. Well, that was so funny. And she's like, it would be like kissing my brother. Ha ha ha. And then here we are. But he said yes. They got over it. And yeah, it was just so in the film they play childhood friends who have grown up together basically. And I think that relationship, of course, two actors who don't know each other can come and can create that for the screen. But there is something just so kind of cool because culturally we know that they grew up together, right? That they have this past, and we have this past with them from watching them for 8 years. And, I think all that texture and that sort of juice is there on screen. And so, even when we were cutting the film, it's like every time we have the scene of them meeting each other and on screen again for the first time since Thrones, you get a little, you're like, oh, there they are, how cool. And they've grown up, they look different, they feel different. It's just sort of a, it's tapping into that relationship and that past and all of that, sort of like the meat and potatoes of that relationship instantly, instead of having two actors who have no previous relationship. So that was really cool.
Oh, I love that. Also, I'm reminded, I put this in my notes and I forgot to mention this, that the story is inspired by the Shin Buddhist parable that underlies the classic Japanese horror film Onibaba. Could you explain that connection? The synagogue fans not randomly, but love Onibaba.
Well, it's a big, incredible film. And I would never even want to be, touch close to the idea of coming close to that film because it is just an extraordinary movie. Absolutely beautiful. But I loved the relationship of the women was something that really stuck with me. And that is, so the folk tale basically is a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law, and the relationship between those two women and how the mother-in-law is trying to manipulate the younger character, right? And that I thought was very interesting, and it felt very universal. It felt very modern and contemporary. If you have a mother-in-law or if you have a parent or you are part of a generation that has a previous generation, right? Like, it's very that dependency between the generations to me felt very you could put that in any time period, know. And then I wanted to put it in the Dark Ages specifically, just so we could sort of paint in these more expressionistic colors, so to speak, and have these like really kind of stark images and put that very modern relationship into a place where we could like really have fun with this sort of fairy tale aspect, right? Like this kind of gothic fairy tale feel. And then I wanted to put it War of the Roses because War of the Roses is sort of the last, the end of the Dark Ages. So after that period of time, they go into, it becomes, Queen Elizabeth, Shakespeare comes, the Church of England splits from the Catholic Church. It's a big change, and it's kind of Europe moving out of the Dark Ages and into sort of the modern world, and towards like the industrial world and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's all kind of hoity-toity, but that was sort of why I was interested in putting it in that time and that place.
This might just be my perception, but making a period piece seems like that much more difficult, right? Because of like the the accuracy and the attention to detail and the set and the costumes, all of that.
Yeah.
Is that true?
It's certainly the perception, and it's definitely the perception of the financiers.
Oh, really? Okay.
But I don't know. I don't know, because even in a modern setting,
you still have to do all
you're still
that.
designing everything. Right. So, I mean, unless you're doing like a mumblecore movie where you're just like taking out your phone and
True.
shooting what's there, you're still designing the costumes. You're still doing all that kind of stuff. So, yes, there is this step of historical research, I guess. But I think with everything I do, modern or period, and I've done several period pieces at this point, it's the same process.
Yeah.
No,
that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
The film leaves room for interpretation. Were there moments you intentionally wanted audience to debate after the credits or throughout the film?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. I think it's more fun to I think we always have the answer, right? Like as the filmmakers, the team, we always sort of know. We're like, yeah, he's really there, or whatever it is. But we have a tendency to over-explain, I think, sometimes in movies and scripts. And so I think sometimes it's fun to sort of pull back. And a lot of times that happens in the edit. Mm-hmm. So like an editor, I've been working with the same editor forever. We've been working together since college. And
fun.
Yeah, and he's really good at sort of saying like, hey, I don't know if you need that. Like maybe this can be a little bit more open or loose or whatever it is. So I think a lot of times you can kind of find those moments and open them up a little bit. And it actually, I think, can help the film be more long-lasting in some ways, and less. Look, if people are going to see an independent film, I think they want to go like get a glass of wine afterwards and talk about the movie.
Yeah,
so they don't want to be told every right? Like if I'm going to see an Avengers movie, I want to know exactly what happened. Like don't leave anything
such a
open.
fair point. I agree.
Yeah, it's I'm going to see Kristen Stewart's new movie, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm very excited to see her film. I hope that she doesn't put a period at the end of every sentence. Like I hope the movie ends and I can go again, like I can go chit chat with my friends and talk about, what do you think that meant? And that's part of the joy of independent cinema. So I think leaving those spaces open is an important part of the process.
That makes sense to me, and I agree. I was also reminded as you were speaking, I saw this video, I think on Instagram, just some like kind of creator that talks about films, and they were talking about the style of film that's often for Netflix originals and how it's just like, like I never realized this because I don't work on the back end of films, but the dialogue is so heavy-handed and explanatory.
Repeating.
Yeah, and that was part of it too. They would repeat things because they're assuming you're not paying attention.
It drives me bananas.
It's so crazy. I'm like, wow, that's so sad how the entire script is curated for like a lazy, unobservant audience.
And like, I'm sorry, I'm not 8 years old. Like, you don't need to keep explaining this to me. Treat me like an adult, you know? Like, my God. It drives me insane. But I'm also someone who, when I'm watching a movie, right?
What was the hardest element to protect during production? Tone, performance, etc., like to your original vision for the film?
It's so hard. Making an indie is so hard. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, movies take time and money, and those are two things you do not have on a tiny independent film. I think it's all hard. I think it's every step of the way, right? So as the director, you are spread between all of the departments, right? Mm-hmm. So the production designer is there to protect the tenets of production design, right? Like, here's the color scheme that we want to have. Here's this. The DP is there to protect the structural integrity of the film, right? Like, here's how we wanted to film. Remember that this was how we wanted it, the pacing to be this, that, and the other thing. And I think as the director, you're across all of those things, right? Like, you're also trying to protect the performance. You're trying to protect your actors and give them the time. And a film like this, sometimes Sophie was getting one take. And that's how incredible these actors are, that they can come and they can do it.
It would make me so nervous.
Oh, it's horribly, nerve-wracking. And, if she came to me and she said, I need another one, of course we would make the time to do it. But sometimes you're running, to the end of the day and you just don't have the time. And she delivers in one take and you say, all right, we got it in the can, time to move on, Mm-hmm. So that's crazy. But still, I think you need to try and protect those things, even with that, 2 takes, 3 takes at the most.
Yeah.
I think it's all difficult. It's all difficult. And you're kind of rewriting as you go. So it's like you shoot all day, you go home, you rewrite for the next day because of things that happened and this piece moved there and the weather, we built this hut in the middle of nowhere and, it rains and half the floor is mud now, so we have to let that dry out and we have to shoot something outside instead. It's all that kind of craziness. And so you're doing that and still trying to remember. And that's when you really lean on your team, really trying to remember, like, what is it that we really set out to do here?
Yeah.
And you lean on your team to not just be yes men and women, but to say, no, now we're going too far from the original thing that we set out to do,
I typically like to ask when we have a director or a writer come on talking about their film is like, what are you hoping the viewer takes away from your film? And did you have an end goal in mind, a message? Obviously, we're talking about like taking things for interpretation, but maybe even a feeling you hope people leave with.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we wanted to do something sort of classical and beautiful and gothic. And so I think it's really like a feeling. We like the vibes.
I describe that often to friends when I talk about different movies that I like. And it's like, I can't describe it to you. It's just the feeling I had after
vibes,
leaving the movie.
Yeah. I really think that this one in particular, that really, it is what it is, because I think it, again, we kind of wanted it to have this like kind of fairy tale, folktale feel to it. So it's not an especially like complex plot or anything like that. It's not like court intrigue or anything, it is kind of this journey, this kind of simple journey of a young woman. And, I mean, in terms of a message, I think it's, you have to, you have to find your own path. You can't just do what path has been set out for you. This character at the beginning of the film thinks that her life and her relationships are going to go a very specific way. And then, of course, everything kind of becomes different and complicated. And she kind of has to trust herself, and listen to her own desires and kind of what she wants. And that ultimately is the only way forward for her.
And then to wrap this section, can you just one more time tell the listener where and when they can watch The Dreadful?
Yeah, so the film comes out February 20th. It is in theaters, so you can check your Fandango listings to see if it's playing near you. Again, we shot this film, on beautiful Panavision anamorphic lenses. It has a gorgeous score, and really it's designed to be enjoyed in a theater. So if you are able, it really is the way to experience the film.
Sweet. Okay, now our final game, a segment called Dreadful Decisions. So for Dreadful Decisions, I'm going to say 2 scenarios, and you just pick one or the other of which you would prefer of the 2 dreadful scenarios.
No. Okay.
They're not that dreadful, but
okay.
A great ending that redeems a flawed film, or a weak ending that undermines a great one.
You want the strong ending.
Okay.
Yeah.
One perfect shot or one perfect performance?
Performance.
You can only watch one genre for the rest of your life, but it has to be one you usually avoid. What do you choose?
Oh my God, that's so tough. I guess rom-com, because I think Phantom Thread, it could be considered a rom-com. So I can still watch my comfort movie.
You can only recommend films that challenge viewers or films that bring them joy. Which path do you commit to?
Oh, challenge. Always. Always challenge.
Would you rather be known for one undeniable masterpiece or a body of work defined by risk and inconsistency?
This is such a tough question. I mean, I think when you start out, you want the one masterpiece because you think that's what matters. But the truth is life is long, hopefully. And you grow as a creator. And so I think it's about a body of work. And I think it's about constantly challenging yourself and your team and the evolution from start to finish of your body of work. But certainly 19-year-old me would have said the one masterpiece.
Yeah. Historical accuracy or emotional truth?
Emotional truth, for sure.
The Dreadful ends 5 minutes earlier or 5 minutes later? Which do you choose?
I like the 5 minutes later version.
Yeah.
I will say, and it does exist, but yeah.
Would you rather a film be misunderstood now and rediscovered later, or clearly understood and quickly forgotten?
Oh, I guess, man, if people enjoy things in the moment, I think that's great.
And then last one, director's cut that only film people love, or a compromised cut that reaches a wider audience?
Oh man, I don't know, man. I still like my director's cut.
Yeah, fair.
I think my cut is always better, but that's never the cut that sees the light of day, right? Like you never get the director's cut, so it's always the more
the mass appealing.
Yeah. That's always the version that goes out, and you learn to love it, right? But I think deep down, all directors are kind of like, well,
yeah,
I like my cut.
Yeah. Okay, so to wrap us, do you have any projects you're working on next that you can share, or what's in the future for you?
So I kind of, as you guys know, I had a baby, and that experience was kind of cool because it forced me to sort of wipe my slate clean going into 2026. And so I have basically decided to just commit to one or two specific projects, one of which I'm writing right now. So I'm almost done with the first draft of that new project.
So I'm going to ask you two things. So first, like how listeners can follow you or follow your work. And then can you close us out with like a watch film recommendation? Just, we love to like give recommendations on this show so people see new films. So
I have an Instagram. It's at Natakerm, Natakerm. It's the first four letters of both of my names. And I'm not super active, but I do post everything that's coming out. So it's a good way to sort of see when like new work is coming out. And I also make commercials. So you can see some of my, I like to post commercials as well on that account.
Illium
Pictures.
Illium Pictures
is my production company. Yep.
Okay. And then do you have a film recommendation for the viewer or listener?
Can I can I plug the Criterion channel?
Yes.
Like the whole channel?
Yes.
I know it's cheesy, but I think we just need to keep repeating like these great institutions like Vidiots, like the Criterion channel, like find wherever you are. If you are in a more remote place, you're not in a major city, the Criterion channel is a really awesome way to explore new filmmakers and classics. I love it. And I think if you are in a place that you don't have access to like a great movie theater, independent cinema, that's a good way to find new stuff.
I love that recommendation.
Yeah.
Now it's time to get lost.
Good evening.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us 5 stars on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. To stay in touch, follow our Instagram page at It's Intermission Time and share with your friends. As always, Intermission is produced by Jazeel Chu and Olivia Dean, and of course, hosted by yours truly, Megan Braun. This episode is brought to you by The Synagogue.